T1 off the back of their jungler are going to dominate.
20 KP, who was on 3.5 items, and it is the jungler.
Yeah, I actually think maybe we could petition DNS, like, we don't need to play game 2. Let's just give POM to Owner and move on.
Wow, T1 might lose this game, right? And then Owner's like, ha, wolf.
Well, it's, oh my goodness. It's a quadra, and Owner's looking for a potential pentarangle.
2026년 4월 10일 DN 슈퍼즈와 T1의 경기가 있었습니다. 그런데 이후에도 이 경기가 계속해서 언급되었는데요.
Well, let's see whether Owner does pull the trigger.
He can still play Lee Sin if he really just feels like it. But with Owner,
Yeah.
sometimes when his main picks are gone, I find it difficult to predict. And
there's the
I guess
lead.
I did anyways. I don't know.
I mean, Lee Sin does basically the same thing when it comes to synergy with Orianna.
LCK였지만 해외에서 더 반응이 뜨거웠던 경기 지금 보겠습니다.
I imagine he's getting a lot of chime.
라인전을 아주 세게 시작한 페이커, 기웃대던 표식을 잡아내며 퍼블을 가져갑니다.
As Pyosik taking a bit of damage from Faker, the train comes out as Pyosik is going to flash out of the way, still gets slowed, and the Q's charged up. Oh, dearie me. This guy is definitely dead, and it's Faker that locks down that kill. First blood over to the Orianna. Disaster.
페이커의 기세에 당황도 잠시, 경기는 이제부터 시작이었습니다.
Get out of here. Doesn't have the ulti up and available, and does have to flash. Is now Pyosik in trouble. The smite is eaten by a spell shield, but he's still very, very dead. As Faker once again going to take down Pyosik, and Dudu just running away from the entirety of the situation. 0-2 for Pyosik. We were talking about it before.
Expectations.
Yeah. So far, not necessarily working out as Dudu going aggressive gets the flash over the top as Doran looks to move towards Owner, but he goes down. They now look to try and trade it. They will be able to do that, but a 1-for-1 is not what they were looking for.
Great read by Dudu. He's like, I'm doomed no matter what. I might as well try to go for this outplay and trade a kill back. And he is successful there. Does have to expend his flash, but well worth it in that situation.
이 경기에서 기세가 대단했던 사람은 따로 있었는데요. 바로 오너였습니다.
Getting more camps as Paranoia finally comes out. Pop Blossom is going to put him up into the sky though as he's kicked back. And Owner does manage to follow. Docdom now here as the Tempered Fate comes on down, but it's just not going to really do enough as Docdom is in a whole lot of trouble. As T1 are circling like sharks right now. The wave not quite here just yet. As Docdom looks to just try and chase Owner out of here. Peacemaker comes on through and he knows that he's dead. And he's finished off by a sonic wave of all things.
Yeah, well, at least, is it a good thing that the Lee Sin got the kill and not the Ezreal? I don't know, actually. In this case, probably not, because it is Owner, and here is already has a pickaxe in his inventory.
Yeah, it's just pick your poison, really. It's just not good on either side.
What are you going to do here? I mean, this situation is Owner has full control, and we found out here that Pyosik's R button isn't broken, but he's just instantly kicked back. He used his spell shield, trying to block the Pop Blossom, got hit by it anyways. And so just really not much he can do in this situation, has to just leave. Duckdown tries to barrier the Q, avoids it anyways, and then chases Owner down because he knows he's dead no matter what. Keeps the wave away, but just dies to the Sonic Wave.
Yeah, he was busy netting towards Owner as well as he dies to that one, and the minions, of course.
경기 19분, 용 한타를 준비 중인 양팀. 이때 사건이 터집니다.
Yeah, let's see whether Owner comes over and looks for this. He is certainly going to do so as Pyosik can use the ulti to reposition, but the Pop Blossom onto 3. Pyosik gets into the back line, but Carrier has already created so much of a problem. He does go down as they now look for the angle. A double kill for Closer just before he goes down as Peter just barely staying alive. Pay's in a lot of trouble, but Docdom as well contending with Doran as Dudu looking to cut him up. It's a double kill for the Lee Sin, and they manage to take the Drake, and Owner is able to take down
he can
the
stop the
Caitlyn
retreat
as well. It's, oh my goodness. Does smite down Shelly as Pyosik looks to try and get out of there, but there's a resonating strike. It's a quadra, and Owner's looking for a potential pentarangle. He does find the Q onto Dudu, and he is of course going to follow it, but I don't think they're going to be able to take down the Gwen right now.
When I said if we had POG, Owner would get it if T1 win this game, I didn't quite mean it was going to work out exactly like this, but that Sonic Wave landing on the Duckdom changed the whole equation of the latter part of that fight, because if Duckdom is actually able to survive there, I think T1 just have to tuck tail and run.
캐리아가 제대로 궁을 박았지만 뭔가 잘못되고만 상황. 그때 용을 처리한 오너가 정리를 시작합니다.
And gets over the wall. Pyosik's on this flank angle while Dudu is doing massive massive damage, and Faker is out of the fight. And from this moment on, yes, Peter is super low. Doran is going to be able to catch him here, but Duckdom is the main character, right? Like, he and Dudu are the ones who are going to be able to cut down the Scions. The fact that Owner finds this angle here and hits Duckdom is the real game changer. And then, because he has Herald here, he can stop Pyoshik's retreat. Pyoshik smites down the Herald, and yet still gets caught here. There's just too much for Owner to use for mobility.
I swear that
그렇게 쿼드라 킬을 하고만 오너 DN 슈퍼즈는 이제 진짜 발등에 불이 떨어졌습니다.
Shockwave connects onto Closer, but he is focused on taking down this turret. They should be able to do so. That gold lead moving back towards 3K as Tempered Fate comes in. It catches Pyoshik, but not Carrier as the fear is still going to connect. Needlework comes.
캐리아를 자르는데 성공한 DN 슈퍼즈. 그런데 해산하지 않고 오히려 오너가 뛰어듭니다.
Arm, but now Owner is making his way in, finds a resonating strike. Dudu is able to immune that ultimate coming out from the Ezreal, but Pyoshik not a lot of options. The train is going to pass the station here as Dudu is deceptively tanky with his Riftmaker, but still, Owner is such a beast. Doran likely to fall down, however, survives somehow as Dudu goes into the mist and is able to keep himself up. Closer has a fair bit of damage, but now without the Gwen, this could be problematic. Q connects, the Emperor's Divide doesn't do enough, and it's Pays that locks down the kill on the Azir.
Some of these fights have just felt too close for comfort for T1, and yet they've still pulled it off thanks to Owner's incredible Lee Sin. But man, I look at how DNS have played this mid game. They had a great macro read with the top and outer and top and the outer and bottom lane right here, finally getting the last hit points of it as they look for this play. But they're playing through this Nocturne and the side lane pressure incredibly well, and they're turning it into team fight situations where it looks like, okay, maybe they can turn this into something big. But Faker still has this turret to operate through, and then Owner shows up, right? And that's the big game changer. Dudu has a really nice mist here to get out, but now you're fighting against this incredibly safe Ezreal. Doran's on the flank. It took too long for the objective to go down. Closer does finally get the turret, but it's at such a hefty cost here. And now everybody's here, and Owner is just going to have his way with them. Going back in here for Dudu, a little bit greedy, a little bit of a...
I tell you what, it would have been really cool if Closer had ult before this moment.
Yeah.
I was wondering why he wasn't using it. It was coming off cooldown.
Yeah.
오너의 엄청난 활약에도 훌륭한 경기력을 보여주는 DN 슈퍼즈. 다시 반격할 차례였습니다.
As close as they are, because DNS are playing the map well, that it gives you hope that this roster definitely has something in it, but they are so far behind now.
Well, let's see whether they can find an angle here as the flash in from Dudu gets vision as well as they dive on top of the Ezreal. Pays just doesn't get to play the game. Pop Blossom trying to use defensively, but Carrier will be able to keep himself alive, and now Owner makes his way in. My God, the damage of this Lee Sin, and the Shockwave is able to pick up the kill as well. Down goes Peter, the Emperor's Divide is there, but Closer, I don't think he's likely to survive this one, and Faker says absolutely not. Takes out that golden bird, and DNS are forced to run for the hills.
It's just another almost miracle win for DNS where you're like, oh, how did they out-rotate T1 again? And then ultimately they didn't, right?
No.
Tempered Fate does not actually really get them a whole lot there in the fight. It actually kind of buys T1 time for Owner to get over there and save the day again, as he is just putting out fires left and right and all of these scrappy skirmishes. As Pays here just unaware that Dudu's on this wraparound angle, and Dudu does so much damage. The Nocturne ultimate can follow him so far away, and then Carrier is also isolated. From this moment, you're like, wow, T1 might lose this game, right? And then Owner's like, ha, wolf.
You
goes
silly
in,
Billy.
takes out Pyoshik. This Tempered Fate doesn't really do them a big favor as...
Okay, Dudu teleporting in, does get into the mist in time as Doran is just getting cut apart. They will be able to take out the Scion. The question is, do T1 have anything else? True Shot Barrage is decent amount of damage as Doran is still trying to get work done. Dudu in a lot of trouble, and Pays will be able to take him out. There's the kickback onto Pyoshik. The follow-up not quite there though.
그야말로 날아다니는 오너. 하지만 DN 슈퍼즈는 또다시 기회를 만듭니다.
For the DN Supers as now T1 move over to take down this inner turret, and they should be able to do so pretty comfortably. Gold lead moving towards 7K. They have the Chemtech Soul as Magical Journey brings Dudu in. They're looking for Pays once again as he does get himself out. There's the Tempered Fate. Pop Blossom is going to connect as Dudu moving all the way up, and now Closer looks for the Emperor's Divide. They find it and they grab the kill onto Faker. Carrier goes down as well, but it's Owner that is a true carry here. here. Kick back once again, but the Q doesn't land as Peter looks to get on top of Pays, and Dudu is going to assassinate him. Now it's Owner and Doran against the world, and the DN Supers, once again they find a team fight, and this one it looks even better.
Yeah, this time they actually kind of win it. They actually, in fact, do win it. Owner was still alive, so I kind of had to, I was like, walk a tightrope on my words on this one, because when he's alive, he has turned quite a few of those, but there's just no damage anymore after Faker and Pays are dead. So watch this again. Pays has been pretty greedy with his positioning. He's given DNS so many ins here. The Tempered Fate allows them to try to make an outplay here. Carry is buying space, and now Pays is safe, right? But Closer gets over the wall, gets Faker, as Doran is dying and live, or nearly dying.
기울어 있는 상황에서 오히려 한타에 승리한 DN 슈퍼즈. 그런데 오너가 빠지는 DN 슈퍼즈의 앞길을 막아섭니다.
And live, or nearly dying.
Yeah, someone was dying as they look for the angle, the flank opportunity, but the kickback comes through to disengage. Peter is tagged by the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike comes on through as now Dudu is fighting against Owner, and Owner likes those odds. Able to take the double kill as he takes matters into his own hands. A triple for the Lee Sin. This guy is just a little bit too fed. 11-0-6. You were talking about the POG angle. I think this is guaranteed POM, and he can feed the entirety of game two.
There is one player on Summoner's Rift who has no deaths, who has 17 out of 20 KP, who is on 3.5 items, and it is the jungler.
Yeah, I actually think maybe we could petition DNS, like, we don't need to play game two. Let's just give POM to Owner and move on. But instead, we want as much League of Legends as possible. But what an incredible performance from this guy. Is Doran going to be able to soften up these Nexus turrets straight into the queue? Beautiful shockwave from Faker as the Pop Blossom going to pick them up, put them down. And the DN Supers will be laid to rest as T1 off the back of their jungler are going to dominate in this later stage of the game. One team fight looked like hope. But Owner said, no, not today, my friends. His Lee Sin just as incredible as always.
I was impressed by 6 players in this game. They were the DN Supers and Owner. This was the true, actual epitome of a 1v9 performance from Owner.
이 경기는 T1의 오너가 리신으로 엄청난 발재간을 보여주며 화제가 된 경기였습니다. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다.